Hello and welcome to Murder Chronicles. Today, we look into the story of a young Kenyan man who was born from a privileged family but ended up joining a gangster lifestyle that led to his tragic death. From a young age, Thomas was exposed to the intricacies of high society, attending exclusive events and mingling with influential figures. His grandfather, who was a prominent philanthropist and politically well established, installed in him a strong sense of responsibility and the importance of using privilege for good. This upbringing had shaped his character, making him both charismatic and articulate, often capturing the attention of those around him. This is the sad story of Thomas Waroi Njoka, who was also known as Tomaso Gagula. Thomas Waroi Njoka was born on August 23, 1992. His father was David Njoka and the mom Catherine Njoka. Thomas had two siblings and he was the second born of the three. His family was well privileged. They lived in Nairobi West Lang'ata area by that time, and the area was only occupied by wealthy and prominent individuals. His dad worked as a senior manager at the Ministry of Health Kenya. His maternal grandfather, Clement Andrew Kalani, worked as both an MP for Ikolomani constituency and an assistant minister for the government of Kenya. The famous ex-Attorney General Githu Muigai is a brother to Thomas's mother. For clarity, the ex-Attorney General Githu Muigai and Thomas's mother are siblings. For Thomas's mother Catherine, she worked at the Kenyatta University in the Guidance and Counseling Department. Thomas had role models all over. His mom, who was a dedicated Christian, diligently taught her children all the needed morals in life. Thomas seemed to be destined for greatness, a promising childhood that gave everyone the hope of him having a bright ending. Hailing from a prominent political family, great establishment, with ties to high-ranking government officials, Tomaso's early life was filled with opportunity and support. His parents, both well established, raised him with high hopes, sending him to top schools. They had great hope that, just maybe, he would get interest in the same field as his uncle, grandfather, or the dad himself. After his primary education, his parents enrolled him for Pioneer High School. The unfortunate truth is that, despite the smooth and soft life and the care his parents had showed him, Tomaso's life took a dark turn. He chose a life of violence, horrible atrocities, and destruction, a step that left so many people puzzled by his choice of life despite excelling in his early years. Things started to go wrong when he entered high school. Some of his fellow students stated that his criminal behavior began back in high school, where he could steal petty items like books, pens, and uniforms. He always wreaked havoc in school. He loved trouble, and as his school life continued, his grades started to go down. Expelled for indiscipline while in Form 2, Tomaso dropped out, turning his back on education and his family's aspirations. His parents had tried to plead with him, assuring him all the support he needed, but unfortunately, going back to school was not a part of Tomaso's plans. He had very different plans, moving out of his parents' house. He settled in Kayole, Nairobi, where he found himself drawn to the streets and the allure of matatu culture. Now, away from his father's watch, guidance and protection, Tomaso found himself drifting away from what is called a normal and good life. His association with a Matatu tout named Kevin Lumide aka Kevo, who was a founder and leader of the notorious Mauki family gang, which worked as a tout during the day but thugs at night, led Tomaso down a dangerous path. The Mauki gangster crew operated around Kayole and Umoja areas. Thomas ended up falling in love with the touting job. Captivated by its allure of loud music and graffitis, Kevin used his knowledge for the streets and quickly found Thomas a position as a tout for the Bank Bus Company, one of the top-ranked trap-sort buses in Nairobi town. They started working together. Thomas quickly made friends. Being from a rich and famous family, they branded him as "rich kid on the streets." He was greatly fascinated by the ghetto life, where he enjoyed freedom unlike the previous life he had been living. This is the kind of a life he had chosen to go ahead on with. It was an exciting exploration for him. Tomaso expressed great connection with the people, and being the cool kid from a rich family, everyone wanted to be associated with him. He wore expensive clothing, shoes, and jewelry, expressing that he was from a flashy lifestyle. He enjoyed hanging out in clubs, partying with beautiful women most of the time. He and his gangster members, who were branded as Chafua Meza, would buy drinks for everyone in any nightclubs they went drinking. Tomaso was a fan of the black label beer. He could chew cat (miraa) as well as smoke marijuana. Such drastic changes of his life events led to him engaging deeply with gangster for life. Soon or later, he found himself deeply involved to a point where his redemption was almost impossible. Later, his close friend Kevin Lumide aka Kevo was involved in a physical altercation with police officers in town where he was shot down during a gunfight exchange. He had been on the police list of the most wanted criminals in Nairobi. The Mauki gang, which he had led for many years, was being hunted down by authorities for repeatedly instilling fear and terror among the Nairobi residents through robbery, carjacking, and other criminal activities. Finally, a man that Tomaso had been admiring was finally down. Tomaso, however, even after such frustration, he did not make any choices of relenting from further involvement with crime. Instead, this time he joined another criminal group known as the Gaza Boys, based in Kayole and Umoja. They most did carjacking, murder, theft, burglary, and all sorts of crime. The group was far worse than the Mauki group. They were known to be ruthless and would anytime use their machetes or pistols just to get phones from their victims or some little pocket change. During their operation, fear had captured the whole of Nairobi, since they did not spare anyone, not even women and children. They were that vicious and ruthless. After Kevo's death in a police shootout, Tomaso became involved with the even more feared Kayole Gaza Boys gangster, known for violent crimes including carjacking and murder. The group would hijack vehicles and hold people hostage, forcing them to give up their ATM cards and passwords, where they would go ahead and withdraw money from their victims' bank accounts. Mostly, the victims never went unharmed. The Gaza Boys had gained notoriety for their brazen tactics, often engaging in open confrontations and acts of intimidation that targeted local businesses and individuals. Their influence had permeated the community as many residents felt powerless to challenge their reign of terror. The gangsters' activities were not only limited to theft and robbery, they were also known for engaging in tug wars with rival groups, escalating violence in the area. The fear instilled by the Gaza boys had profound implications for daily life in Kayole. Many residents had reported feelings of unsafety in their own neighborhoods, altering their routines to avoid encounters with the gang members. Local businesses had suffered as customers stayed away for the fear of their safety. Efforts by law enforcement to combat gang violence had often been met with challenges, leading to a perception that the Gaza boys operate with relative impunity. They were identified through the rings they wore on their forefingers, a gold tooth, as well as a small tattoo at the back of their ear. They also wore tight pants to hold their weapons from falling. Back at home, Tomaso's family was now aware of his involvement with the Gaza boys. The father had effortlessly tried to plead with his son to quit the criminal activities. He finally gave up on his son to a point where he disowned him. The dad considered his son as a disgrace to the family. But however, the father's action did not stop Tomaso from engaging deeper into the gangster lifestyle. He continued his lavish lifestyle of wining and dining with women across Nairobi City. Sadly, he and his gang members made one terrible move that led to their ultimate downfall. They had murdered a police officer in Langata area. This brought out a picture of a vicious group that was ready to go too far with doing horrible things. The step made him and his group become a target for the authorities, and shortly after killing the officer, several members of the group were gunned down by the officers. For Tomaso Gagula, he kept on managing to escape and dodge the officers anytime they were on his search. He and his surviving members almost got caught when they attempted a robbery at Kangudo area in one of the gas stations there. Luckily, they escaped. On the 13th of August 2013, the authorities set a trap for Tomaso and his gang crew. They were to be busted during a sale operation for a stolen car, where the police fired on them in the incident. He lost two of his close gang members, who he considered to be his best friends, among them a 21-year-old boy by the name Lenny Mpole, who was quite close with Tomaso. He too was badly wounded in the operation, but he managed to escape. Surprisingly, the incident did not stop him from continuing with his gangster life. He just could not stop. The police at Langata police station had once summoned his parents to talk to him out of the criminal activities, warning them that soon they would get to him and they were ready to take him down as a stubborn criminal. The parents tried, especially the mother, who did a lot of pleading, asking the son to just come home. He had lacked nothing, and his involvement with such criminal activities did not make any sense at all. Sadly, the boy kept on denying the claims of him being a gangster member, yet not giving out a solid reason as to why he could not return home to be with his family. The delicate mother wanted to hold on to the hopes that her son was still the good son who she had raised in discipline and morals required by humanity. Tomaso's criminal activities culminated in his involvement in a carjacking incident on August 13, 2014 in South Sea, Nairobi. A man had parked his car by his friend's gate, waiting for it to be opened so that he could drive in when the gangster group attacked him. They stormed in the vehicle and forced him to drive away as they threatened him with weapons. They headed towards Mombasa Road and somehow around Jomo Kenyatta International Airport. That's where they pushed him out of the car and speeded off. The man immediately reported the incident to a nearest police station. On the 15th of August 2014, at around midnight, a vehicle that matched the license number of a vehicle reported as stolen was identified. This was in Buruburu area, Nairobi. Inside, there were three young men. The officers who were around quickly notified, and their attention turned to the vehicle. Shortly, two of the three men walked to an ATM across, leaving one inside the vehicle. But right before they could do the withdrawal, they spotted the police officers and tried to alert their colleagues inside the vehicle as they ran for their lives. The one in the car tried to drive away as he exchanged gunshots with the police. Sadly, he was not lucky. He was badly wounded and died right on the spot. He would later be identified as the 22-year-old Thomas Gagula. He was finally down. Finally, his actions caught up with him. His death was a shock to many and a relief on others. He had lost his life exactly 1 year after Lenny Mpole, who was a close friend and had even posted on his social media account expressing how he still missed Lenny. He had even updated his Facebook profile picture with that of Lenny Mpole. A week later, Thomas was laid to rest. He, however, was buried at Langata Cemetery since his father had long disowned him and could not have his body buried in any of his property. At the Langata, gangsters from all over Nairobi came to pay their tribute, where they tossed all sorts of things inside the grave, including rings, chains, guns, machetes, alcohol bottles, and others. Tomaso's mother continued to express love and how she missed her son. She continued posting him and celebrating his birthday through emotional posts on her social media. She had even gone to a point of trying to amend for some of Tomaso's atrocity, where she had paid off most of the people who claimed to have been robbed by Tomaso. She relentlessly expressed her love for her son despite this all. Sadly, she passed 7 years later, back in 2021. May their souls keep resting in eternal peace.